Well, let me begin by giving you a little background. My name is Emmanuel Obuna. I'm a priest for Abakaliki Diocese in Ebonyi State, Nigeria. About 4 years ago, I had an accident at home. I fell down the staircase and hit the back of my waist against the steps. I did an MRI and I was told the bone was cracked beyond repair. And my doctor recommended I come to India. I've never been to India before. But he put me in touch with Med Access, an organization that helps to provide good health care for people who come to India for treatment. Well, that made things a lot easier because they organized in such a way that I was picked up at the airport in Mumbai, brought to a hotel, a very decent hotel, and they provided practically every service. Now, the first day, I came to the office and they briefed me on how they function. That their main the mission, if you like, was to make sure any foreigner that comes into India gets the best of treatment from the best of doctors, from the best of hospitals. Now, India is a mighty country. And even in Nigeria, we heard so many stories. There are so many quack doctors that do more damage to patients and so on. So after listening to them, I was convinced and I could see they put it into practice. First, they would take me to a specialist who would examine my case, and then they would seek a second opinion to make sure that you get the best, because one doctor does not have all the answers. Now, that happened in my case the first time, then the second time. Even when I went for an eye check, the first specialist said I needed surgery and was going to do that the next day. They took me to a second specialist who took a look at it and said, look, you don't need any surgery. I'll give you some eye drops. And you come back in a couple of days' time. And when I went back, that was it. He said their eyes were perfect, just use the eye drops as and when due. So that's a practical example of the kind of service they render. Now, if I were alone, I wouldn't know which doctor was the best or which hospital offered the best services. So this is the kind of service which I appreciated. And not only that, when I finished with the spine specialist, I was almost ready to go. But they advised me, look, since you're here, why don't you do a complete checkup? And I saw that as a good idea. Because even though I had a very good doctor in Nigeria, like I said, one doctor cannot have all the answers. And I discovered that here in India, their hospitals are really state of the art. You know, they have the best of equipment, which I don't have in my country. And they have fantastic services. Everything is kind of computerized. I'm sitting here with a doctor. He takes a look, does all his examinations, punches a button. I go to the next place, and they tell me exactly what to do next, and where to get my drugs, or where to go for the next check. So I found that fantastic, and I thank Med Access. I'm going back now to my country, feeling better, more confident, because all the question marks in my mind, you know, like, how is this going to be, and how is that going to be, have been ironed out. And I'll keep in touch with them, because it's always good to have a good connection. In such a big country like India, you know, if you arrive here alone, you're completely lost. You know, with 1.something billion, right? I think that's 1.2 billion inhabitants. It's a continent, not a country.
Yeah, sure.
And any stranger or foreigner arriving here needs a point of contact, and a reliable point of contact. Because what I noticed with Med Access, they are very strong about ethical approach to things. They're not so much interested in making money out of a patient. They're more interested in making sure their patient gets the best service, the best doctors, and the best hospitals. So for that, I'm very grateful. And I'll take this news back to my people in Nigeria. Back home, I happen to be the bishop's secretary, which means I am present at all the meetings of the priests once every month. And a lot of our people and also our priests have been here for treatment before. And not all of them have heard of Med Access. So I intend to explain this to them and share my experience with them. And we don't hope that anybody falls sick,
Sure.
but nobody can predict. At least now I know that if anybody falls sick, there is a reliable organization which I can recommend to take care of them. I think that's about all.
Thank you, Father.
You're welcome.